Tor, how you doing? Good evening, Miles, and all the guilty CMF. Let's go, Tor. How you doing? How you been? Camel, good to see you as well, brother. How you doing? How you been? Stormy, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Evening, Miles of CMF. Joe, good to see you as well. How you doing? Hyper, good to see you as well. How you doing? Yes, brother. Up, down, or sideways. I think the market's going to be slightly volatile due to this Trump situation that's going on right now. So maybe a little bit down sideways for the time being. Not majorly down, but a little bit down sideways. So, by the time everyone, I think like the camera's a bit sideways. There we go. Oops, still sideways. Yeah, there we go. So by the time everyone tunes in one by one, I'll go through a gist of what we're going to be talking about tonight's live show, and then after that, we'll pretty much everyone's tuning in for the first part of the live show. So on tonight's live show, we are going to be talking about the Donald Trump situation and how essentially it's going to be affecting the market space. We're also going to be talking about Vitalik Buterin on tonight's live show as well. We're also going to be talking about on tonight's live show regarding another $25 million that's been pledged towards a pro-crypto campaign. Yesterday, Ripple made a $25 million campaign again, and now another crypto firm has decided to put $25 million in to give political donations out to essentially to get these essential regulations coming in for the crypto space at a much more faster rate. We're also going to talk about President Joe Biden, essentially, and how he's slightly going towards cryptocurrencies, oddly, and an interesting time slot as well, you could say, with the whole Trump situation. We're also going to talk about tonight's live show regarding Rep. Mick Henry and his perspectives on how fast the stablecoin regulation can be passed inside the United States. And we're also going to talk about the SEC regarding the S1 filings and when can we expect some sort of actual green light regarding Ethereum ETFs for companies to start purchasing, essentially, regarding the ETFs. We're also going to talk about Chainlink and Circle on their new partnership that's been announced. We're also going to talk about essentially some CFTC members have came out and essentially given their perspectives on the FIT 21 bill and how fast or how slow they think is actually going to be implemented into law. We're also going to talk about the crypto event that recently happened regarding consensus. Many CEOs and executives have given their opinions at consensus. One of them was Ripple, Brad's CEO, which we discussed yesterday. But now we have other CEOs to go through. And also James was there as well from Bloomberg, the ETF specialist. He was also there as well. We're going to go through his perspectives on how the markets will play out moving forward. And James has been correct on market movements so far without a doubt. And we're also going to talk about the SEC commissioner as well, coming in some interesting ideas with the United Kingdom connecting to the United States through a digital sandbox. We're also going to talk about on tonight's live show regarding JP Morgan. The analyst from JP Morgan, Nicholas, has decided to come out and give another perspective, but this time not on the perspective that he gave out yesterday regarding Solana, but his perspective this time around is on Ethereum, moving forward essentially. We're also going to talk about Franklin Templeton on tonight's live show as well regarding real-world assets. They were also at the massive event, Consensus 2024. We're going to go through Franklin Templeton's perspective on real-world assets moving forward. We're also going to talk about regarding another perspective from Franklin Templeton on how the rest of the world is moving quite quickly when it comes to regulations and adoption rates. And according to Franklin Templeton, the US could maybe lose their positions in the running race if they don't speed up. So we have regulation to go, essentially regulation news to go through, perspectives to go through regarding ETF specialist analysts, regarding Franklin Templeton's perspectives, regarding SEC members' perspectives, CFTC members' perspectives, some executives' perspectives as well to go through regarding how the market space will move forward, and Trump news to go through on tonight's live show as well, and how the market is going to be affected by this whole Trump situation right now. But before we go through any of that, let's go inside the comment section. And also, if you are watching this live show for the first time ever, welcome to the CMF live show. On this live show, we talk about how the world is evolving into a digital space. We talk about recent news that's happening around the world in terms of cryptocurrencies, in terms of CBDCs, in terms of AI and regulations and politics, because it all plays in together. And we do Q&As as well, which means if you have any questions, put it down inside the comment section. I'll be more than happy to answer the questions you may have, and I read everybody's comments one by one. We are live right now on YouTube and X at the exact same time as usual. So welcome to the CMF live show. And the disclaimer of this live show, as always, is not financial advice, not political advice, and whatever I say is only for entertainment purposes. So the live show has officially started now. Joe, good to see you as well. How you doing? Even if I was a CMF, Hypersnapper, good to see you as well. How you doing? Yes, brother, up, down, sideways. A little bit down, sideways, most likely. What's up, brother Miles and CMF? What happens to Miles and why? What happens to Miles? You mean what happens to Trump? Not Miles. We will, I'll tell you now, and we will be vindicted on November 5th, 2024, when Trump will be our new president. Morning, Shelly, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Brother Miles and CMF, Comatose, good to see you as well. How you doing? Evening Miles and CMF, Semper, good to see you as well. How you doing? Do you see us going to 90,000 to 95,000 in the next 2 months? As we have been sideways for a long time. It is true, we have been going sideways for a long time, but the market space is going to go through some extreme volatility in terms of bad and good coming up. Essentially, the bearish scenario would be empty GOX. They're moving around Bitcoin right now to refund people. That's going to cause a bearish and volatile scene. Then we also have the Gemini earn situation. That's also going to be a bit bearish and volatile scene. But then we have the FTX repay version, which that's going to be actually quite bullish because they get paid out in fiat, which means they will buy. So it's sell, buy, in other words. Even if I wasn't sorry I haven't been on for a while, have been working early, unfortunately. Hope you're all well, brother. Let's go, Joe Zempa. How you doing, brother? How you been? Good to see you. How's your day been, Miles? It was good. Extremely busy. It was good. How's your day been, Lena? Good to see you as well. Joe Biden will do whatever BlackRock tell him to do. Hi, Miles. Bob, good to see you as well. How you doing? Good evening, Miles and CMF. Free and Feather, good to see you as well. How you doing? XRP Den, good to see you as well. How you doing? I just want to say I was the one holding XRP sign. I sent you a tweet on X. Please take a look. Bob, I'll check it out. Bobby, Crypto Granny. Crypto Granny, I'll check it out. How you doing? Good day, Miles and family. Mike, let's go. How you doing? Can we start with the Trump news? Yes, we can. It is the first news we're going to go for tonight's live show. Do you think XRP could hit 49 cents in the next few days? Please consider variable change. Yes, definitely going to be hitting. But Crypto Granny, good to see you. How you doing? And I'll definitely check out the tweet as well. Pierce, good to see you as well. How you doing? Even in Miles and CMF, Trump news equals current downwards pressure. It does. Leroy, good to see you as well. How you doing? Good evening, Miles and all CMF. Iman, good to see you as well. How you doing? Good, thank you. Missed you on TikTok. Thank you so much for kind words, Crypto Granny. Yeah, the TikTok scenario, I mean, they kept on trying to bring me down with frauds and scams, something I've never done ever. I don't sell anything or promote anything, but for some odd reason, I was getting frauds and scams in TikTok for randomest reason ever. But it was only when I talked about CBDCs, also oddly. But yeah, that's why we moved off of TikTok. Because there are actual scams going on TikTok in terms of crypto scams, and nothing happens. But me, someone who's never done scams, gets reported on TikTok, and then TikTok takes me down. So, it was the best move to do to stay away from TikTok. Good evening, Miles and everyone. Denise, good to see you as well. How you doing? How's everyone doing today? Iman, let's go. I'm doing great. How you doing, Iman? Good to see you as well. Now, Donald Trump. The first news we're going to be going from tonight's live show is Donald Trump. Mega Trump coin had a little recovery just now. Yeah, in terms of the crypto space as well, the crypto space is incredibly quick. I mean, on the Telegram group of the CMF, was posted regarding the guilty token. So there's a guilty token right now being created on Solana. There is the free Trump token that's been also minted on Solana. There's multiple crypto projects right now. The crypto space is incredibly quick. I mean, you've got to give it to them. Sure, I mean, they're all pump and dumps. There's no way around it. But they are incredibly quick on creating these pumps and dumps. I'm coming back to you, YouTube. I started here. Have a blessed day. Let's go, Crypto Granny. It's good to see you. Evening, Pure. Good to see you. How you doing? But yeah, regarding what Leroy said as well, I love the freedom on blockchain. Yeah, definitely. Now, the Trump news. Big news today regarding Trump. Essentially, getting the guilty plea. Now, is that going to be get my NFT of the XRP Trump event? Only 47 minting. It's a collector's. Let's go, crypto granny. So, regarding the Donald Trump found guilty in hush money case, becoming first ex-president to be criminally convicted. Donald Trump has become the first former US president to be criminally convicted. In an historic decision, a New York jury has found him guilty of falsifying business records to commit election fraud. He was found guilty of all 34 counts he faced and was required for any vote. So essentially, everybody that was there did give essentially a guilty plea to him. Now, does this seem like a setup for Trump? Yes. Is he really guilty? Who knows? Politicians typically tend to be guilty, but this particular case seems more like a setup. The former president is set to be sentenced on 11th of July, days before the start of the Republican National Convention on 15th of July. Look at the timing. Just look at that perfect timing that they did to him. Nothing is a coincidence in any sort of a way. This seems so coordinated. This entire case on Trump seems extremely coordinated. The former president is set to be sentenced on 11th of July. On 11th of July, we're going to get Trump, again, some sort of sentencing going on. That's days before the first Republican National Convention on 15th of July, where Trump is expected to be formally nominated for president, which means he won't be able to make it. The verdict plunged the country into unexplored territory ahead of the election on 5th of November, as opinions polls showed Trump and Joe Biden locked in a tight race for the White House. Trump faces a maximum sentencing of 4 years in prison, though others convicted of the same crime often receive shorter sentences in terms of fines or probation. Speaking outside the court, Trump said the conviction was a disgrace and that he is a very innocent man. He said that the trial was rigged and that the judge was conflicted and should never have been allowed to try this case. Meanwhile, a spokesperson for Joe Biden, you know what? This is the part that makes zero sense. Not zero sense, but this is the part where Joe Biden is gloating right now, and he shouldn't be. Okay, Joe Biden should not be gloating in any sort of a way, because the next comment that was made by Joe Biden's spokesperson, and the comment was, meanwhile, a spokesperson for Joe Biden said in a statement, no one is above the law. No one is above the law. That's a bold statement to be making from Joe Biden's side. So that means essentially Hunter Biden is above the law, apparently, because that's a very bold statement to make from Joe Biden's side. No one is above the law. What about Hunter Biden? Is he above the law? Because nothing ever happened to him. Donald Trump has always mistakenly believed he would never face consequences for breaking the law for his own personal gain, said Michael Taylor, the Biden-Harris campaign communication director. The threat Trump poses to our democracy has never been greater. He is running an increasingly unhinged campaign of revenge, pledging to be a dictator on the day one and calling for our Constitution to be terminated, so he can regain and keep power, he added. A second Trump term means chaos, ripping away Americans' freedoms and fomenting political violence, and the American people will reject it this November. These are the things that were stated by essentially Biden's side. Meanwhile, Michael Cohen, Trump's former fixer and key witness in the trial, posted on X celebrating the verdicts. Yes, there is a lot of people right now celebrating the verdict situation. There's a lot of people celebrating Trump's verdicts, and there's a lot of people saying this entire thing is rigged. Look, again, I'm not an American citizen. I live in the UK. I'm a British citizen. So we're going on a voting matter. Look, however you look at it, if you support Trump, if you don't support Trump, however you look at it, This entire campaign was very targeted. This entire campaign was there to take him out no matter what. If the case was small or big, they just wanted something on him. Because you can obviously tell how the law works, where they stated that typically people who do what Trump did will receive a fine, not a prison sentence. So, no matter how you look at it, essentially, if you support Trump or you don't support Trump, this was extremely targeted. Because if somebody else committed the same things Trump did, they would have received a fine or probation, no prison sentence. And it's only because he is who he is. But it's also because he went against a very, very big, massive agenda. If we go a few days back, or even a week back, on this live show, I said that Trump made a speech. About a week back, I said Trump made a speech. He said he's in favor of cryptocurrencies, he's in favor of Bitcoin, and then he went on to say he's against CBDCs. Now, by all means, CBDCs are not good things in any sort of way. It's a controllable asset that will ruin your entire life, and your freedom goes out the door, or whatever's left from it. And I said it's a bad idea for him to go against CBDCs. Because when you go against CBDCs, I give the explanation that the Bank of International Settlements is the one pushing for CBDCs. They're, essentially in charge of 60 centralized banks, including G20 countries. The most powerful countries in the world listen to the Bank of International Settlements and the International Monetary Fund and the World Economic Forum. I said it's a losing battle to go against them. It doesn't matter if you're a president, it doesn't matter if you're a politician, it doesn't matter if you're a prime minister. It's a losing battle to go against the Bank of International Settlements, to go against the World Economic Forum, or to go against the International Monetary Fund. It's a losing battle. And I also give the example that the Philippines, for example, said they don't want to do CBDCs. And I said the Bank of International Settlements went to the Philippines, and about 2 weeks later, the Philippines was singing a different tune. They went so far into CBDCs, they're getting close on testing now. Same thing happened in Vietnam. They didn't want to go for CBDCs either. They said, we have no use for it. The Bank of International Settlements went there also. 2 weeks after, Vietnam was singing a different tune. I said, look, regarding Trump being in favor of cryptocurrencies, good. Everybody should be. Trump being in favor of, blockchain technology advancing, Bitcoin and so on, every type of cryptocurrency, yes, definitely. But then when he said, I'm going against CBDCs, it was where the downfall happened for him. And again, I'm not saying I'm in favor of CBDCs at all. But I know for a fact, if anybody decides to go against CBDCs, it's a losing battle. It's going to happen either whether you like it or not. Nobody is above. No politician, no president, no prime minister is above the Bank of International Settlements, or the World Economic Forum, or the International Monetary Fund. It's a losing battle. And I said, that's where he went too far regarding CBDCs. So now a lot of people are saying, Trump can go to prison and still become president of the United States. Yeah, that's if he survives prison. That's what a lot of people don't realize. Because they might have had difficulty, doing something about it while he was out. But nothing's stopping them from doing something to him when he's in. Everybody knows the Epstein situation, where the prison guard went on a little break for no apparent reason. So, losing battle if you go against them, honestly. If you go, and I said this, word for word. I said this a week back. I said he's in favor of crypto, good. In favor of, blockchain advancing, good. America becoming a crypto hub, good. And then he said, I'm against CBDCs. And that was his entire downfall. Nobody realizes how big this whole CBDC, essentially spectrum is. It's massive. People just look at CBDCs and goes, oh, it's never going to happen. Oh, it might happen. No, it's going to be happening, whether you like it or not. And nobody's going to stand in front of it. And it doesn't matter if they do a vote inside of politicians against CBDCs. Politicians, regarding the vote they had, the Fit 21, yes, that's good. The Fit 21 will stay. The Fit 21 bill might change a little bit when it gets to actual implementations, but it will stay. The CBDC one, where they said anti-CBDCs, yeah, that will get tossed out before it actually gets implemented into law. That will definitely get tossed out. Well, you think a few politicians can stand in front of the Bank of International Settlements? The one that's in control of 63 centralized banks and G20 countries. It's never going to happen. But yeah, that's where he crossed the line too far, Trump. Because, it's either you play by their rules or you get replaced. And it doesn't matter who you are. They stopped them once, they'll stop them again. And again, I'm not in favor of the Bank of International Settlements or the World Economic Forum or the International Monetary Fund, but I at least know who controls the power. And so does he. But sometimes people like Trump, people who are powerful themselves and wealthy themselves, think they're above everybody else. And then sometimes someone else or a group of people come along and show him or show people like him that they're not above everybody else. Sometimes the power gets to your head and you think you're above everybody else. Sometimes when you're too powerful and too strong and too wealthy, you think you're above everybody else. But in reality, the World Economic Forum, the Bank of International Settlements, and the International Monetary Fund will come along and humble you. It's pretty much what happened. So let's say he gets convicted. And there is one way out of this for Trump. The only way out of this for Trump is to withdraw his presidency. And again, I'm not in favor of Biden in any sort of a way. I've always said Biden has two brain cells left. He has one brain cell for standing up and one brain cell left for sitting down. So I'm not in favor of Biden in any sort of a way at all. But I understand how the world operates, and I understand who holds the power and who doesn't, and who thinks they hold the power. And now, how will this favor crypto, or how will this positive or negative scenario of crypto? So how is it going to work out now? Well, let's say if Trump gets convicted because he doesn't withdraw. If he withdraws his presidency, they won't convict him. If he withdraws his presidency, they won't convict him. They'll give him a small, maybe even a small sentencing, a probation, a fine, and they'll just toss him to the side. But if he tries to still become president, then he won't last too long in prison. So how will this play out? Let's say if Trump stays on, then he won't last too long. So let's say the other way. Biden stays on. He's going to be in favor of CBDCs. Biden seems like he's going to crypto, but let's just all pretend that's true. But he's in favor of CBDCs. There's 24,000 crypto projects out there. There's about 24,000 crypto projects. Only one has a CBDC platform. So it's not much of a competition for Ripple. So with Biden going for CBDCs, because it's not really Biden going for CBDCs, it's the people behind Biden going for CBDCs, it favors Ripple. And again, I'm not in favor of Biden. As I've said, he has two brain cells left. And I always call him Sleepy Joe. We'll always call him Sleepy Joe. But it's in favor of Ripple because he's in favor of CBDCs. But the rest of the crypto space will also become regulated, without a doubt, inside the United States. But let's see how this plays out. Is Trump going to get convicted? Is Trump going to withdraw his presidency? Because that will slow down whatever they have on him, or don't have on him. Who do you think became president of the US? Oh, wait, here we go. Today I lost the final to go and play. There we go. Actually, I've got to go much more higher. So let me go through the comment sections one by one because I missed quite a lot of comments. I just read that Trump will debate Biden before 7-11. Yeah. They'll do whatever possible to keep him out. Sleepy Joe probably messed his diaper. People in court said the verdict was so quick and no one was listening to Trump. They said it was set up against Trump. It was. This entire thing was rigged. Elon Musk is helping Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for possible debate. I hope they include Libertarian presidential candidate as well. Astro observations greatly appreciated here in Las Vegas. Let's go, Leroy. I'm British, so don't really care what happens in America. However, it's clear to see America needs Trump back in power, and dare I say it, the world needs him back too. I agree with Joe. I definitely agree with Joe. But unfortunately, the world doesn't operate the way we want it to. But I agree with Joe. Today, I lost the final to go play a World Cup in September, 4v4 football. Unfortunately, don't worry, Bill. Better opportunities will come around the corner. Who do you think will become president of the USA? Is Trump putting in jail because he doesn't want CBDCs or other reasons? He's standing in front of a massive agenda. The massive agenda right now is CBDCs. Control is the biggest agenda there is, without a doubt. Powerful observations not discussed on MSM here in the US. I think he might have wanted to back out because of CBDCs are coming and he doesn't want it on his tickets. Possibly. Maybe as well. Happy Pisces, good to see you as well. How you doing? Miles, surely Trump knew this before he said anything about CBDC. Some people sometimes think they're too above everything. The power sometimes gets to their heads. JFK is a good example. Why is nobody talking about CBDCs inside the crypto space? Never heard it from any one of them. Because some people don't understand how they really work. He'll only do house arrest anyway, you'd think. He should be doing, essentially. Good evening, Brother Miles, and the rest of the family. Funky Brother, good to see you as well. How you doing? Sleepy Joe. No, he won't give up that easily. Miles, be careful what you say on X, and you should, just in case they need to. Hi, Miles. John Deaton for president. John Deaton for president. That's a new one. Peter, good to see you as well. How you doing? If Biden gets back in CBDCs, will be on his ticket, and people will be way more pissed off to the Democrats. At the Democrats, yes, that's true as well. Miles, I swapped my 2 ETHs for 4 projects: Chainlink, ACH, and XLM, and Ton. Okay, funky brother. Miles might not make it in jail, but Biden for sure won't live for years more. Yeah, that's true as well. Even in Miles and CMF, good to see you. How you doing? But those matter where live USA elections going to affect the world. But does matter where the live the US elections is definitely going to be affecting the world. As you know, the International Monetary Fund put it, when America sneezes, the global markets catch a cold. This guy's too old. Yes, too old is not the description we should be giving Biden. Biden's more like an antique at this time. When we have ChatGPT 7.0 and lose 50 to 80% of jobs, what will that do to the real estate space? What will that do to the real estate space? Will it just be controlled by banks, essentially? Miles, I need to go soon as I'm up early. Would you mind doing the Chainlink story next, please? Yes, no problem. The Chainlink story is, I'll tell you now. The Chainlink story. Here we go. This one's for you, Joe Zampa. Chainlink and Circle team up to boost DeFi usability and cross-chain USDC. Coral Network Chainlink announced today that it's teaming up with Circle to enhance the utility of stablecoins on the decentralized finance DeFi ecosystem. The partnership also marks Chainlink's commitment to supporting USD Coin USDC on the chains enabled by the Cross-Chain Interoperability Protocol CCIP, promoting secure cross-chain transfers. Chainlink's integration of Circle's stablecoin developer technology will empower innovators building on the internet-native financial services, said Sandra, the VP Product Developer and Ecosystem Marketing at Circle. There are immense opportunities for builders right now, and we look forward to essentially continuing our partnerships with Chainlink to unlock new capabilities for the DeFi ecosystem. Since its inception, Chainlink price corals have facilitated over $1.3 trillion in transactions involving USDC across 6 different blockchains, significantly contributing to the DeFi market's liquidity. Additionally, this collaboration aims to integrate Circle's developer platform with Chainlink's suite of services such as its CCIP, data feeds, and proof of reserves, while also providing educational resources for developers using USDC and Eurocoin to create resilient applications. Financial institutions' growing interest in tokenized assets means developers need robust tools and secure infrastructure to leverage external data. Proof of reserves and interoperability, stated Ashkar, the head of developer relations at Chainlink Labs. We're excited to partner with Circle to boost USDC and EuroC utility through Chainlink services, which are critical throughout the entire tokenized asset lifecycle. So Circle and Chainlink partner together in terms of tokenizations, and it's because Circle is going to be using the CCIP regarding Chainlink, which is definitely going to be expanding on their adoption rate. Definitely. It's going to be expanded on the adoption rate, which is good news for Chainlink and good news for Circle. The adoption rate is going to do well for them. That was the news regarding Chainlink and Circle. So tokenizations for institutions, CCIP, Chainlink, and Circle. That's their partnership. Now, the next news we're also going to be going from tonight's live show is regarding Vitalik Buterin. Politics is dirty, thriving game. Same thing happened to Pakistani Prime Minister. Yeah. If Trump is the best option for America, why they don't tell him that CBDCs is a red line and don't mention anything about it so he can become president? Well, it's because they don't want him, and he won't stand for that either. You missed my comments. Shelly, apologies about that. What was your comment, Shelly? No, I read out your comments. You said he'll only do house arrest anyway, you think? And then you said, no, he won't give up that easily. Those were your comments? I read out your comments. Before that, you said Morning Miles. So you said Morning Miles, and then you said they'll probably give him house arrest. And then you said, no, he won't give up that easily, regarding him essentially backing out. I read your comments. And thanks, Miles. Appreciate that, bro. Joe, no problem. Anytime. Hi, Miles of CMF. George, good to see you as well. How you doing? China slash Russia and other countries essentially want Sleepy Joe in. They know they can walk on him, not so much with Trump, which is also a fair point. Imran Khan was sent to jail just before the elections. Sorry, I missed you saying them. Then apologies. No problem, Shelly. Anytime. I don't think you really wanted to come. I don't think you really wanted to become president this time. You don't think he wanted to become president this time? I think he's gonna wait till Biden collapses or something, and then he can blame the CBDCs on them, because the CBDCs would happen even if Trump was in power, and people will be pissed off at him, which is a fair point. I mean, the CBDCs obviously would happen either way if Trump was in power or not. But it's easier when you don't have somebody going completely against you 24/7. Experts were saying maximum sentence will be house arrest just to keep him away from people. Even house arrest is just stupid, because typically for something like this, people receive a fine, more like, not an actual sentencing. Now, Vitalik Buterin. Vitalik Buterin donates 30 Ethereum to Tornado Cash legal defense as he develops a compliant version. So Tornado Cash, which is a completely privacy project right now. Privacy projects are, again, absolutely obliterated right now. And all court scenes. The EU is against privacy tokens, Canada's against it, the US is against it, the UK is against it. Quite a lot of market spaces around the world are against privacy projects, and one of them being Tornado Cash. So out of nowhere, Vitalik Buterin decided to get involved and back Tornado Cash with 30 Ethereum, approximately $114,000, to support the legal defense of Alexei Prezvo and Roman Storm, the developers behind the controversial crypto mixer Tornado Cash. I personally think this is a bad idea regarding, I'm all in favor of essentially privacy projects, because, you have CBDCs, essentially at the bottom of the list, no privacy, cryptocurrencies, some privacy, and then you have privacy projects, actual privacy. But Vitalik Buterin getting involved with this whole Tornado Cash situation, it's not really a good timing for him, especially when the ETF applications are still being processed. So Vitalik Buterin is working on a new Ethereum-based crypto mixer designed to be compliant with anti-money laundering laws. That's also not a good idea as well for Ethereum. Alexei, one of Tornado Cash's developers, was recently sentenced to do more than 5 years in prison by a Dutch court in his involvement of $2.2 billion in money laundering case. Roman Storm, another Tornado Cash developer, is set to face trial on similar charges in the US courts in September. Their cases have gathered significant attention from privacy advocates and the blockchain community, who feel that developers may be held liable for the misuse of their code, essentially of their code, by third parties. The conviction of Prezzo has also raised concerns about the future of smart contracts used in anonymizing platforms, as the Dutch courts ruled that he was responsible for the actions of those usings of Tornado Cash's technology, despite the autonomous nature of the smart contracts. Several prominent entities in the cryptocurrency industry have rallied support. The Tornado Cash developers, Coinbase, the Blockchain Association, and other trade associations have submitted essentially their briefs in support. Enrollment Storms and Matter Labs, the developer group behind the ZK Syncs Layer 2 network, and has donated around $100,000 to developers' legal defense, while the Uniswap DAO is considering a donation of up to $1.5 million. Data from the decentralized funding platform Juicebox essentially indicates that the on-chain legal defense fund has already gathered $2.2 million in donations. In parallel to these supports for the Tornado Cash developers, Vitalik Buterin is collaborating with other researchers, including Aman Somwi, to develop a new crypto mixer called Privacy Pools. This unique mechanism outlined in 2023 paper aims to allow users to maintain their privacy without offering criminals a completely clean source of crypto funds. Privacy pools will enable users to opt out of essentially mixing their funds with potentially ill-gotten gains, addressing the concerns raised by regulators and law enforcement agencies regarding the use of crypto mixers for money laundering and other illicit activities. The development of privacy pools and Vitalik Buterin's support for Tornado Cash developers highlighted the ongoing efforts within the DeFi community to balance the cyberpunk ethos of privacy and decentralizations with the need for compliance with anti-money laundering laws. As major Wall Street players like BlackRock and Fidelity show increasing interest in DeFi sector, projects like Privacy Pools and 0xBO, which is implemented the Privacy Pools concept, show an ongoing commitment to finding solutions that maintain user privacy while adhering regulatory requirements. So, essentially, a lot of people are now getting involved in this privacy sector, but they're getting involved in a very orderly way, in a very legal way. They're going into privacy. You can't do a privacy crypto in a legal manner because it's privacy. So anybody can use it and everybody's private. So how can that be in any sort of a way of a legal manner? What they actually mean is we're creating a privacy tool that we're in charge of, and anything goes about, is what they're really saying, because they had no control of Tornado Cash. The governments had no control of Tornado Cash. They had no control of projects like Tornado Cash that have also been taken down. But with Ethereum, essentially Vitalik Buterin coming out and creating something similar called Privacy Pools, something similar to Tornado Cash, but it's called Privacy Pools. And essentially BlackRock and Fidelity are in favor of it, and so are jurisdictions, because they're going to be within the law. But how can it be within the law if everybody's private and anybody can do a transaction on it? So in simple terms, it means they're creating a platform for privacy, but the jurisdictions are actually in control. So Fidelity, BlackRock, and so on, they'll have a hand in it, and they're in control of the profits, let's say, of privacy purchases, let's say. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Now, honestly, if you just want to say, I'm trying to steal money in daylight, just say it. Because that's what BlackRock, Fidelity, and essentially Vitalik Buterin have just said. We are going to do daylight robbery, is what they're saying in a very simple form. They're going to be doing daylight robbery, but they've named it privacy pools under the law. Now, Consensus 2024. A16Z crypto boss also confirms a $25 million lobbying donation. Yesterday, Brad did a donation of $25 million to this political donation campaign that they have going on. So Ripple, Coinbase, Kraken, and a few other crypto platforms came together and created this crypto fund, this crypto portfolio, where they're paying political donations for any politicians that are in favor of cryptocurrencies. And essentially, Brad yesterday donated another $25 million. Today, another crypto project has also decided to donate another $25 million. These crypto platforms are pouring in their money for political donations right now, which is a good thing. This is how you're supposed to get things done in terms of politics. So Consensus 2024 A16Z crypto boss confirms $25 million lobbying donation is the next news about to go through. But before we go through, let's inside the comment section. So ChatGPT, yep, I already did that. P-Box coin, I don't know what that one is. Could the BRICS nations move away from the Bank of International Settlements to finalize their move away from the dollar? Now, if those particular countries decide to move away from the Bank of International Settlements, believe me, their presidents and prime ministers, their dictators, whoever's in charge of those countries will get replaced. Now, Consensus 2024. A16Z crypto boss confirms $25 million lobbying donation. Web3 focused venture firm A16Z Crypto nearly doubled its donations to major blockchain super PAC Fairshake. A16Z Crypto founder and managing partner Chris Dixon confirmed his company's $25 million donation to Fairshake, a super political action committee PAC focused on lobbying pro-crypto regulations on Capitol Hill. The financial supporter with concussion essentially campaign efforts for political candidates dedicated to protecting internet freedom, open source, blockchain development, and cryptocurrencies in the United States, Dixon said at this major event. Now, the major event he's talking about was a major crypto event that was going on, crypto and regulation event that was happening inside the United States. When Ripple's CEO was giving some perspectives, SEC members were giving out perspectives, which we'll go through on tonight's live show as well, and also other members inside the crypto community, high-profile members and executives, were giving out their perspectives. The latest donation increased A16Z's crypto contribution to Fairshake and its affiliated PACs to $47 million now, joining other digital asset heavyweights like Coinbase and Ripple in deploying financial resources against anti-crypto in Washington. As an industry, we need to keep the momentum and show the United States can lead in creating the next wave of blockchain innovation, Dixon wrote on X. Following a record high for crypto lobbying last year, Fairshake has received tens of millions in donations from blockchain industry leaders and digital asset providers in 2024. XRP issuer Ripple pledged $25 million to Super PAC on May 29th, matching last year's $25 million allocation. Fairshake also received $4.9 million from Gemini Exchange co-founders Cameron and Tyler. Crypto companies are following the millions of revenues into super PACs and their affiliates during election year that could shape the future of the United States in terms of digital asset policies. The crypto voting bloc has become prominent as nearly as half of American voters either own digital assets or consider blockchain a motivating factor when considering candidates, according to a poll that was cited in March. Digital asset adoption is also at the crossroads with regulations like the US SEC and policymakers like Senator Elizabeth Warren cracking down on service providers. Meanwhile, spot Bitcoin ETFs have clearly shown a demand for these virtual currencies and their underlying technology. So, the political donations are still coming in heavy-footed. $25 million was the new political donation made. And we're definitely going to be seeing quite a lot of politicians becoming a lot more crypto-friendly because we know how politicians work. Politicians don't work on who's right or who's wrong. It's about how big the donation is, and then the politician is green-lighting pretty much everything you put in front of them. It's about greasing the wheels. But yeah, they are definitely greasing the wheels for these people. The next news to go from tonight's live show is Joe Biden. Joe Biden has finally, apparently, Joe Biden has fallen finally in love with crypto, apparently. So Joe Biden is in favor of cryptocurrencies. Odd moment in time to be in favor of cryptocurrencies. As Trump is getting taken down, Biden has decided to be in favor of crypto. Is he trying to win people's hearts over? Who knows? Obviously, it's not Joe Biden. It's most likely his Biden administration, as I previously said. Joe Biden has 2 brain cells left. It seems Brad wasted his money on Trump as he might end up in jail. Now another $25 million wasted today. You missed my comments. 5 comments up. 5 comments up, Joe. Let me go. 1. 5 comments up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I read this comment. So ChatGPT 7, 50 to 8% of job losses, so 50 to 8% less people with money to buy houses. Will that cause a crash in the housing market? Okay, I missed this comment actually. My bad. Will this cause a massive regarding crash housing market? No, because the banks will come and sweep it up. Could do, but the banks will sweep it up. Dennis, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Biden signing up these influencers, crypto courses right now? Yes, most likely. If you see your favorite crypto influencer all of a sudden talking in favor of Joe Biden for no apparent reason, most likely he got paid off to do. I think I'm the only crypto. Well, I'm quite. There might be. There's probably a few other ones like me inside. There's probably a few other ones like me inside the crypto space as well. But I don't have a number, and by that I don't mean phone number. I mean I don't have a number. Instead, I have morals. So that's why I've never promoted anything. But yeah, if you see your favorite crypto influencer all of a sudden talking about Joe Biden and cryptocurrencies and so on in favor of Joe Biden, it's because they got paid off to do. Now, regarding this apparent situation of Joe Biden and all of a sudden starting to like cryptocurrencies, this is why I said regarding the number scenario. CEX will also be scooping up. Let's go count. G, good to see you. How you doing? Mav, good to see you. How you doing? So, following a record high for crypto lobbying last year, Fairshake has received tens of millions of dollars in donations from blockchain industry leaders and digital asset providers in 2024. XRP issuer Ripple pledged $25 million to Super PAC on May 29th, matching last year's $25 million allocation. Fairshake also received $4.9 million from Gemini, co-founders, and so on. Crypto companies are also flowing in millions of revenue into PAC as well, that they're aiming to shape the future of digital currencies. Now, President Joe Biden and his re-election campaign has recently taken steps to connect with the big players, apparently, in the cryptocurrency industry to gain insights on the crypto community and policy moving forward. This action marks a significant change in his approach from both the Biden administration and the campaign towards digital assets. It reflects a newfound openness to comprehend the intricacies of the crypto industry landscape and intact with its various communities. Biden campaign, a fresh perspective on digital assets. The outreach being approximately 2 weeks ago, as Biden's team is becoming more aware of how crypto-related matters could influence a closely contested presidential race. Not too long ago, Joe Biden for President BFP campaign team advertised a job role for a meme manager, which I went through on this live show, which involves managing and coordinating daily interactions with popular content and meme online pages, which was the stupidest idea ever introduced. People's tax-paid money is going to go to somebody posting memes on Joe Biden's behalf. This sudden interest is connecting with digital assets experts and supporting crypto initiatives occurred following objections from crypto enthusiasts and investors to the Biden administration proposal to veto anti-crypto laws and the urgent need for crypto regulations. The Joe Biden crypto embrace, genuine move or political maneuver? It's definitely a political maneuver. The United States president recently efforts to engage with the crypto sector have gathered positive feedback from many within the industry. However, there are some who remain skeptical, feeling that these actions may have come after a significant delay, hence the perception of too little, too late. This skepticism stemmed from his former tough stance on crypto. Recently, Cardano founder Charles strongly criticized President Joe Biden for actively trying to break down the crypto industry in the United States. Other crypto companies and investors have echoed this sentiment. Regarding President Joe Biden, Samson Moe, a prominent Bitcoin advocate, has recently voiced his concerns about politicians and sudden shift in supporting cryptocurrencies. Trump crypto nudge mold Biden's stance. It is not surprising to think that recent political changes, such as the Trump campaign acceptance of cryptocurrency donations and his pro-crypto stance, could have influenced the Joe Biden change in perspective. Additionally, Trump's doubts have essentially about the central bank digital currency CBDCs at the 2024 Liberal National Convention could also be a factor. It is a big change from Trump's view when he called cryptocurrencies a dangerous thing back in 2021. Similar to Biden's campaign team, Trump's administration is also influencing their views on digital assets. So, essentially, Biden's administration is trying to say, Trump was against cryptocurrencies. Now he's in favor of cryptocurrencies, and the Biden administration was against cryptocurrencies, and now they're in favor of cryptocurrencies. Are we going to believe that? No, not even for a second. Is he just doing this for a political movement? Yes, hell yes, he's definitely doing this for a political movement. Joe Biden, is not in favor of cryptocurrency. He doesn't know what cryptocurrencies is, and to be honest, neither does the Biden administration. They probably have the exact same brain cells, or maybe one brain cell more than Joe Biden. But no, this is definitely a political movement. Just to get the votes in, keep people happy. Good evening, Miles, and on CMF, running late today. JP, good to see you. How you doing, brother? How you been? Or MEXC? What about MEXC? Is it a good exchange? It's all right. I still use it. But apparently they have licensing issues. And Dennis, good to see you, brother. How you doing, Dennis? But apparently they have licensing issues regarding MX Exchange. Excellent content. Leroy, thank you so much for the kind words, brother. Thank you, Leroy, for the kind words. Rep McHenry is the next news to go through. Rep McHenry says stablecoin regulation needs a wider vehicle. United States lawmaker Rep McHenry says stablecoin legislation is a priority, with negotiations ongoing for the last 23 months. The legislator also spoke on a wider vehicle for a bill in the Senate and recent developments in pro-crypto legislations. Digital asset regulations have taken center stage. This month, with the passage of industry laws and a turn by several US lawmakers, events like former President Donald Trump accepting Bitcoin donations and projecting support have prompted wider market speculations. New stablecoin vehicle needed, says lawmakers. Speaking on a recent events in Congress, Rep. McHenry indicated that the efforts to get stablecoin legislation passed in the Senate revolve around a vehicle to push the bill. In addition to a vehicle, the law needs a closing date and an opportunity to get intact. Although most competitors are skeptical of the chance of the bill in the Senate, Rep. McHenry opinions that the recent success, like the passage of the market structure bill, and the Democrats voting support point to support. Asked if he thinks the stablecoin bill can stand alone in the upper chamber, he answered negatively. This is what he said, word for word. He said, "Well, I actually think we need a bigger vehicle. What we've not seen in the Senate is for them to take a stand-alone financial services bill across the Senate since Bill 2155. And what we need is the majority leader in the Senate to prioritize these policies, the market structure, the stablecoins, and until that time, we are just going to create the atmosphere and the pressure in the best way we can." Market structure bill in the Senate. The Financial Innovation and Technology for 21st Century Act, FIT 21, was obviously passed recently in the House by lawmakers from both sides, but its fate in the Senate remains dicey. Rep. McHenry stated that the FIT 21 creates a framework for the ownership of digital assets, giving regulatory form to the ecosystem. Described as a landmark bill involving consumer protection and capital flows, its passage with two-thirds majority is a major statement, McHenry added. So, in essentially his perspective, regarding McHenry's perspective, by the way, the next news we're going to be going through on tonight's live show is regarding spot Ethereum ETFs, and essentially the SEC telling all these spot Ethereum ETF applicants to send in their S1. They're trying to fast forward things regarding the Ethereum ETFs and trying to maybe open doors. But that's what we're going to talk about next. But now we're going to talk about this regarding what Patrick McHenry said. Patrick McHenry is essentially talking about how the bill for FIT 21, it's on a dicey road. Is it going to be fully accepted into law? He's weighing on the negative side. Now, Patrick McHenry is somebody who's in favor of crypto, in favor of stablecoins, and in favor of blockchain in general. So he's not against crypto. He's never been against crypto. Well, maybe in the past. But he's been for crypto for quite some time now. But even he's saying essentially that maybe it won't get fully into law and might change along the way. So, do I think what he's saying is true? Up to a certain extent, yes. I do believe maybe when it gets actually close to being implemented into law, the FIT 21 Act, some things will change around it. Unless it's already happened, I predict that Biden will launch a meme coin and it's called CPCHO ZZZZZ. That's an interesting perspective, right? Happy Pisces. And cool name for a coin. We're going Joe Biden on his meme coin. Do you like Demo? Demo is the crypto app that tracks your vehicle in terms of mileages. Is that the one? Do you like SWFTC? I don't know what the recent developments are, but I have looked into it in the past. But I would prefer other crypto projects out there. Can MDT do a 10x for the bull run? Possibility? Yes, in my opinion. But consider variable change. Congress. Tom Hammer at Texas Crypto Convention believes that crypto unites both Democrats and Republicans, and he wants Gensler removed. I agree with him. Gary Gensler definitely needs to be removed. Facts, 100%. And regarding crypto brings Democrats and Republicans together. The reason why crypto brings Democrats and Republicans together is because of political donations from Coinbase, Ripple, Kraken, and everybody else that keeps on funding in millions of dollars into these political donations. So that's the only reason, Democrats and Republicans are coming together. Otherwise, they will never come together. But it involves money and it involves donations. So politicians are coming in. Politicians are like Oliver Twist, as I said previously. Anybody ever seen the film Oliver Twist? If you're young enough, you most likely haven't seen it. But if you're old enough, you know what I'm talking about regarding Oliver Twist. Which is, when he goes in that scene and he's got a bowl and he goes, "Please, sir, can I have some more?" Is what politician basically is 95 beggars. And then when they hear the word donations, their ears start to ring. Congress. Tom Hammer, yeah. Sorry, what did you say about Demo? Is that the app where you connect something to your vehicle to track the mileage that you put on, you earn some coins for it? Is that the one? SWFTC, only 20 million market cap, and Coinbase, is that not great? It is great. Regarding SWFTC, it is good on that basis. But I don't know what their recent developments are, is what I said. I don't know what their recent developments are. It doesn't matter if it has a 20 million market cap. It doesn't matter if it has a billion market cap. It could still go down. It could still go sideways. It could still go up. It could go either way. But what matters is contracts. Who is it working with? What is it developing? Is it going to be beneficial in terms of institutions coming in? Is it going to be beneficial in terms of regulations? Because that's where we're headed. Is it going to be beneficial in terms of banks using it? Is the corporate section interested in it? Those are the things you should be paying attention to, not just the market cap. Or even the token supply sometimes. Obviously not zoo animal tokens, legitimate projects. And what I say about Demo is that the app that you connect to your vehicle when you're driving, and then it records and it mines you coins or something like that. I think that's the Demo app, maybe. Now, spot Ethereum ETFs. Spot Ethereum ETFs issuers have been asked by the SEC to submit their updated S1 filings by Friday. The US Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, has reportedly asked spot Ethereum ETF applicants to submit their S1 filings ASAP. As per the sources familiar with the matter, however, the spot Ethereum ETFs may not be available for trading for 3-4 weeks after the S1 updates. The SEC seeks updated S1 filings from spot Ethereum ETF issuers. These spot Ethereum ETF issuers are asked to submit them as soon as possible. The SEC approved the spot Ether ETFs last week after the 19B4 forms were filed following the last-minute change in the SEC's interest in favor of spot Ethereum ETFs, which experts believe happened after political pressure. The updated S1 filings will follow comments by the US SEC, with further amendments to the S1 expected for weeks before the spot Ether ETFs get listed for trading. As per experts, the SEC could also ask spot Ethereum ETF issuers to go through 2 additional rounds of updates before a final decision on the listing happens. So apparently, Gary Gensler can waste more time regarding Ethereum ETFs on when they open their doors, because this first step has been greenlighted. The first step, has been greenlighted on the Ethereum ETFs. The second step is the S1 filings, which they're asking everybody to file in by Friday, which is today if you're in the UK. The third part is they can say, re-amend them again and again and again and waste everybody's time. So Nate Garcia, the host of ETF Prime podcast, said there would still be an amendment following this, but the SEC clearly engaging fairly quickly here. BlackRock have filed an updated S1 for their iShares Ethereum Trust, signaling a strong move towards launching a spot Ethereum ETF. whereas Hashtags withdrew its spot Ethereum ETF proposal, which I explained to everyone yesterday, and that's due to the unreported reasons. And Van Eck, Fidelity, Franklin, Templin, Grayscale, Bitwise, ARK Invest, 21 Shares, and Vinsico and Galaxy have all filed in their, essentially, or getting prepared to file in their ETF filings, their S1 filings for their ETF, for their Ethereum applications. But apparently the SEC has the choice to waste more time regarding the applicants in terms of accepting them, in terms of opening the doors to Ethereum ETFs. But Gary Gensler is definitely under political pressure right now. He's definitely under political pressure right now. But he does have the option to waste time if he wants to. So here we go. Miles, does it really matter about which political party is in control? I always thought the contracts in place would dictate. Does it matter which political party is in control? Now, I'll be very honest. I've always said this to people, and also by the next news we're going to be going through is regarding implementing the FIT21 Act. Could it be a slow process? This is the CFTC's perspective now. CFTC Commissioner's perspective. A lot of perspectives to go from tonight's lecture. Also, we're going to go to the banking news as well. But I've said this before and I'll say it again. Regarding Freedom Forever's question, which is, Miles, does it really matter which political party is in control? I always thought the contracts in place would dictate. The contracts in place do dictate, and it doesn't really matter who's in control. Up to a certain extent, no. Now, if you do get a political party that is actually trying to bring some change, they'll bring some change for some period of time, and then that change will go away with the next political party. But no, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if you vote for right, left, up, down, sideways, blue campaign, red campaign, orange campaign, who you want to vote for. All you're doing is choosing the next group of people to use your tax-paying money. That's all you're doing. It doesn't matter if you vote for the left side, the right side, the upside, downside. It doesn't matter what side you choose when it comes to voting. The only reason you should vote is because of credit scores, because it's good for your credit score. In reality, it doesn't really matter who you vote for, because all you're doing is choosing the next group of people to steal from your tax-paying money. The next group of people who can eat from your tax-paying money is all you're doing is choosing. Now, sometimes in that process, you do get some people coming in trying to actually make some change. But then they stop them. You know, when they all of a sudden stop a political campaign, or a presidential campaign gets replaced, or a politician gets fired for no apparent reason. So if you do try to bring some actual change that's not on the agenda or goes against the agenda, you will be removed and off-tracked some way, in some sort of a way. But the reality of it is the majority of them follow the footsteps that's dictated out for them. And, you know, all you're doing when you vote for the red side, the blue side, the green side, the upside, the downside, the left side, the right side, all you're doing is just choosing the next group of people, the next group of politicians to have access to your tax-paying money so they can spend it and feed you BS for 4 years. And then until the next group is voted by the people that will feed you BS for 4 years and eat from your tax-paying money. Their best job on the planet is not becoming a doctor, it's not becoming a lawyer, it's not becoming a neurosurgeon, it's not becoming anything. Their best job on the planet is a politician. Because hear me out. You do nothing from morning to night. You lie on the news 24/7. You make up regulations that some might get implemented, some might not get implemented. And all you're doing is living on political donations and tax-paying money. You're no different to someone that receives benefits. Politicians are no different to someone that receives benefits. Essentially, I've always said this, politicians are professional beggars, essentially 24/7. Now, at least someone that, is getting benefits, at least they're going and getting a job, which is good for them and for their family. But a politician just takes money from taxpayers and does nothing for 4 years. They'll feed you bullshit for essentially 4 years, and then just the next 4 years So, as I've previously said, it doesn't matter who you vote for. It doesn't matter if you vote for the red campaign, the blue campaign, the orange campaign, the right side, the left side, the upside, the downside. It's good for your tax. It's good for your credit score. That's the only reason you should vote. But all you're doing is choosing the next group of politicians to eat from your tax-paying money for 4 years and feed you BS, and then the next 4 years another group will come along and eat from your taxpayer money. Do you think any of these politicians can? Have you seen the Labour Party campaign? It's the funniest video I've ever seen. The UK is going right now for a political campaign where the next prime minister will be chosen. I'm not saying Rishi is good in any sort of a way. He's useless also. But the political campaign for the Labour Party, have you seen the videos these politicians make to say we are one with the people? All of their videos are extremely awkward to watch. And this is why politicians are so desperate. Politicians aren't desperate because they want to bring some impact and change. No, that's not why politicians are desperate to become prime ministers and have control to take a nation on the right side. No, that's not why they're doing it. They're so desperate to come above everybody else and get voted in so they can have access to your taxpaying money. That's the only reason they're so desperate. They're not desperate because they want to make that change happen around the world, or they want to change the country's route and put it on the right path. It's the BS they'll feed you on the news. But the reality of it is, they're so desperate to become prime minister, so desperate to become a politician, so they can have access to your taxpaying money. It's the number one best job on the planet. Honestly, the number one job isn't becoming a lawyer or a neurosurgeon or a doctor in any sort of a way, or even a plastic surgeon. Become a politician. You can become a prime minister and earn money for the rest of your life. You'll be earned a yearly wage. It doesn't matter if you became a prime minister for even 1 month. Ironically, we had that in the UK. She was a prime minister for less than a month. For the rest of her life, she's going to get a taxpayer money wage every year. And political donations. Honestly, the best job in the world is becoming a politician. You do nothing all day long, babble on BS on the news, and you get to eat from other people's wallets. And then when they tell you to do something, you just do it because they're the ones paying your wages. And by the wages, I don't mean the political donations, not the actual taxpayer money. So yeah, as I've said previously, doesn't matter who you vote for. The agenda's the same. It's just the people who get to eat this time around are different. The people who have access to the pot of money are different. That's the only difference. Not the campaign itself, not in any sort of a way. And that's the only reason they're desperate to become number one. So, is the S1 filings just for the US? Yes. Hong Kong permitted staking on ETF for ETH? Yes, they did. I explained that on yesterday's live show as well. What up, Miles and family? Hope all is well though. Ray, good to see you as well. How you doing, brother? That's why I have never voted for any idiots in politics. I mean, the only reason I vote is I couldn't care less who I vote for. It doesn't matter who I vote for anyway. So whoever's going to be chosen is going to be chosen to move forward with the agenda. It's for credit score. The only reason I vote, and anybody else that votes, is because of their credit score. If people are actually voting because they expect change, can everybody see me? Can everybody see me? Yeah, we're back. You're back. Yes. I think they don't like it when I talk about how politicians are useless. Okay. Let's consider the comment section. I agree what you're saying, but I think Trump is genuinely wants to make a change. He needs to get in because the country and the world is going down. I agree as well with you. I agree with what JP said regarding he needs to change the route, but unfortunately they won't let him. That's why I said even if they try to, even if someone comes along and tries to, they won't let him. Can Trump run for president if he's in criminal record? Yes, he can. Because Trump doesn't need the money. Yeah, He doesn't need it, no. Real six figures from US likes his new identity from Republic and Paolo to obtain offshore bank accounts and get access to crypto that is banned in the US. Yeah. Miles, if you own a property that apparently your credit score goes high anyways, or you can increase your credit score using a credit card. I've never ever voted, yet my credit score is 999. Me too, but when you get high loans from the bank, when you get extremely high loans from the bank, sometimes it does affect your credit score. I usually pay the system. All the contracts being put in place now with cryptocurrencies is a lie. XRP and XNM XDC won't matter, right? They are all in place now, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, they're pretty much all in place. So, Miles, sounds like you are saying absolutely love politicians. Let's go, K-Love. Thumbs up. Let's go. I told you, be careful what you say on the live show, yeah? Now, implementing Fit 21 could be slow process, says CFTC Commissioner. ICP, social media, doesn't have centralized censorship. That's good. Implementing Fit 21. And Leroy, thank you for the updates back to back. Implementing Fit 21 could be slow process, according to the CFTC Commissioner. Implementing the Financial Innovation and Technology for 21st Century Act, Fit 21, could be a lengthy process, potentially requiring months or even years of coordination between the United States regulators before rules go into effect. Summer Commissioner of Commodities, Futures and Trading Commission, CFTC, made a prediction during a panel at the 2024 Consensus event. She sees a slow regulatory process for the bill if it becomes law. The Fit 21, if it becomes law. If you think, this is what she said at this massive panel, if you think legislation takes a long time, rulemaking takes a longer time. And some of the Dodd-Frank rules were not even done. She said, adding that the process lengthy would depend on how Congress passes the legislation. She continued, rulemaking is a slow process, and you think the law is signed in. The president signs it, it's all done, that's just step one. And then it really gets to the kind of where the rubber meets the road. So it could take a while to get those rules done. After a bill becomes law, regulatory bodies like the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC and CFTC, must enforce the new rules. It involves drafting detailed regulations, a public comment period, and possibly more revisions based on feedback received. This phase can extend other several months or even years. As the case of the Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform and Consumer Protection Act signed into law in 2010. The Fit 21 bill has successfully passed the House of Representatives with the support and is now facing its next challenges in the Senate. The legislation clarifies regulatory responsibility between the SEC and the CFTC regarding digital assets. Joe Biden's administration has expressed concerns about the bill, hinting at possible regulatory gaps that could affect market stability, though it has explicitly stated whether a veto would be considered or not. Also participating in the event discussions, SEC Commissioner Hester Peirce said Congress' interest in crypto legislations is a response to the agency's enforcement approach towards crypto firms. I think some of the reasons we are in this place is because Congress got sick of looking at the SEC doing what it was doing, which is not providing clarity to people. Somebody said it. Congress taking an interest in crypto is great, Peirce said, adding that it also is a reminder that the SEC has been failing to use the flexibility granted by Congress to think about how the law should apply to difficult, new, challenging things. And the next news to go through on tonight's live show is also at this Consensus event. Many people give their perspectives at this Consensus event. Quite a lot of high-profile people coming from the CFTC, coming from the SEC, coming from executives on massive crypto platforms. And the next one to go through is industry leaders discuss digital asset ETF evolution. This perspective from Consensus is coming from James, the ETF analyst specialist, which has always been quite right on the market space. Now, before we go into James's perspective, Regarding what the commissioner said regarding the SEC and this, the CFTC and so on, yes, Gary Gensler has been wasting everybody's time. Facts. That's key number one. The part number two that was also correct is the reason why Congress is involved is because Gary Gensler has been failing as what he's been doing. It's also facts. He definitely has been failing. And the reason three of why the CFTC getting involved is, well, because Gary's incompetent. That part wasn't mentioned in there, but I just wanted to add that one on. He's definitely incompetent. That's why they're getting involved. But yes, I agree with everything what the SEC has said. And by the way, this is a member of the SEC going against Gary Gensler. Just to put in perspective. Congress against Gary Gensler. CFTC against Gary Gensler. Members of the SEC against Gary Gensler. Which goes back to the old saying of, and then there was one. Now, ConSwiss 2024. Industry leaders discuss digital asset ETF evolution. James, the Bloomberg's ETF research analyst, discussed the integration and challenges and future prospects of digital asset ETFs with experts at institutions at this event. Despite being 240 years old, we've continuously innovated, and digital assets are just a part of that journey, said Caroline Butler, global head of digital assets at BNY Mellon. The humongous names at this event. Top executives were at this event alongside CFTC members and SEC members, every single one of them giving their perspectives on how the world is going to be shifting into a digital era in terms of regulations, in terms of other things inside the world. There you go. So, emphasizing the importance of disciplined scalability in managing $47 trillion in assets. BNY Mellon was given the perspectives of, essentially this $47 trillion assets in the market space that's going to be going on blockchain moving forward, essentially. Institutional adoption emerged as a key theme. It's about providing the necessary research for advisors to make informed decisions, stated Catherine Dwelling, executive management at Bitwise Asset Management. Dwelling noted the ongoing due diligence process and the importance of educating regulators on operational aspects. The panel also touched on the rapid developments within the digital asset space. Developments are happening quickly, and we see interesting ways to deploy this technology, said Catherine, the head of digital asset management at Fidelity Investments. Do you see the big names that are at this event? The success is a win for ETFs as a wrapper, offering superior convenience and safety, noted Joseph Cholman, managing director at BlackRock. Addressing the Bitcoin ETF craze, BlackRock was there, Fidelity was there, BNY Mellon was there, again, SEC members were there, CFTC members were there, all of them discussing the future of blockchain moving forward. He noted that the growing client interest and readiness of market infrastructure. Success, this is what BlackRock said, success is reflected in trading efficiency and client engagement. Institutional and retail demand is strong. It was unexpected but welcome, remarked Lo Bessett, discussing the recent ETF approvals. The approval indicates a shift in how the SEC views these assets. The change might reflect a campaign issue, echoed Dwelling. This disapproval order is expected, didn't happen, and indicating political influence. The regulatory landscape and collaboration were pivotal points of discussion. Collaboration has been crucial. We've teamed up to compete in the future, remarked Butler, reflecting on the partnerships with regulators to drive ecosystems forward. Panelists expressed optimism about the potential for other digital asset ETFs. The success is a win for ETFs, offering a superior convenience and safety, said Joseph Cholman, managing director of BlackRock. He also added the growing client interest and the readiness of the markets. The discussions concluded with a unanimous agreement on the need for clear regulatory guidelines, to support continued growth and adoption of digital asset ETFs. Big names. And by the way, the next news we're going to be going through is regarding massive things happening right now with the US and the UK. So the SEC Commissioner pictures a safe space for digital security experiments. The UK and the US are coming together in terms of blockchain. We're going to go through that next, but before we go through that, for a second, let's just talk about what we just said here, because huge names were mentioned: BNY Mellon, Fidelity, BlackRock, SEC, CFTC members. They were all at the same event talking about the future of blockchain. Do you know how much of a big move that is? In the past, you couldn't even get one massive corporation or one even small corporation talking about cryptocurrencies or the future of blockchain. Where now we have BlackRock sitting alongside Fidelity, sitting alongside CFTC members and SEC members and BNY Mellon members talking about the future of blockchain technology. That's extremely bullish. When you have people like this from corporations like that and government entities like this coming together to move forward in terms of blockchain, extremely bullish. And this is why I say, if you're positioned correctly, the narrative of this entire market space going forward, I've previously said this and I'll always say it, the narrative going forward from now on, alongside this narrative, we're going to have still the meme craze and the AI craze and so on. But the main narrative going forward inside the crypto space, essentially, is the financial sector. Is if you position yourself correctly inside the crypto space, where the regulations coming in will benefit the crypto project you are holding, with the institutions coming in will benefit the crypto project you are holding, with the banks coming in will benefit the crypto projects you are holding, you're positioned incredibly well moving forward. And the narrative is going to remain this, with regulations, banks, and institutions moving forward this year, next year, next year, next year, next year, going forward completely. This is the big narrative, which is the utility narrative, which was the main purpose of crypto to start with. But the majority of the retail section I forgot. And but before we go through the next news, let's go inside the comment section. June really is going to be a big month. By the looks of it, yes, it definitely is. Crypto is a reserve parachute when fiat falls from the sky. Good way to put it. Leroy, good way to put it. Trump as a felon can still be elected president. Yes, he can, yeah. Gina, let's go. And then there was one, as you would say. There was one, yep. And they are all somehow connected to Ripple. Somehow, yes. Now, apologies. SEC. The SEC Commissioner has pitched a new idea where the UK market space and the American market space will connect together in terms of blockchain. So, Securities and Exchange Commissioner, Commissioner Hester Pierce, recently published a letter pitching a cross-border sandbox program between the US and the UK. Blockchain firms experimenting with tokenized securities between the UK and the US. Pierce's letter follows a joint proposal from the Bank of England. So this isn't just the perspective from Hester Pierce, an SEC commissioner, but also the Bank of England is in favor of this. The Bank of England and the UK's Financial Conduct Authority to create a safe place for blockchain companies in the UK to test real-world implementations of tokenized securities issuance and trading without the fear from state regulators. Remember when I was just 2 seconds ago talking about actual utility, which is the real part of cryptocurrencies. The retail section right now is too focused on, camel token, frog token, cat token, and so on, while the corporations are coming in with big piles of money for utility. You see how the two minds are completely shifted. The retail section are looking this way while the corporations are looking that way. And who do you think has the money? The retail or the corporates? If you don't know the answer to that one, you should be nowhere near any sort of market spaces. Now, regarding a sandbox as well. Regarding a sandbox, The digital sandbox. A digital sandbox essentially is where crypto platforms can come along and crypto projects can come along. They will test out their projects in this digital sandbox, and then they will see how they can be implemented in terms of utility and how many benefits would it have, or what kind of benefits would it have moving forward before it's implemented in the actual world in terms of its utility. So the UK and America would have a digital sandbox together for cross-border scenarios, where the UK will test out applications in terms of blockchain inside of this sandbox alongside the US. Anything that gets green lighted will be implemented in the UK and the US for everybody to use. During a recent panel at the Conference 2024, Pierce explained the benefits of conducting a cross-border collaboration for tokenized asset exploration. Cointelegraph's Turner Wright provided this statement from Pierce. This is what she said, word for word. We can have double the data coming in from those experiments. And so in order to do that, what I suggest the SEC is to create a micro-innovation sandbox in the US, which would allow people to come in, set their own conditions for trying something, try it out under certain activity ceilings. Pierce continued, one of the problems that we've had is that people have tried to come into the SEC to get relief. But you sort of come in and nothing happens. This would force the SEC hand a little bit. The SEC Commissioner outlined a series of joint digital security sandbox programs between blockchain firms of good standing in the UK and the US. At the top of her list was the establishment of eligible activities for experimentations in the digital security sandbox, with eligible activities coming in from the public and industry inputs. Ceilings and limits to the experimental activities would likewise be set by the public input and monitored by the regulatory officials on both sides of the Atlantic, according to Pierce's letter. The pro-crypto regulators' letter also highlighted the benefits of securities tokenizations, including lower transaction costs, increased settlements, and greater transparency for investors and market participants. And the next news we're going to be going through is regarding JP Morgan and ETFs. But before we go through that, a lot of things happen at this crypto event. So this massive panel event that they had, the Conference 2024, some big people were giving out their perspectives. Hester Pierce introduced, I think personally, an amazing idea regarding the UK and the US, the Bank of England, the Financial Conduct Authority also being involved with the SEC. So the SEC and the FCA. So the UK side and the US side. But not only that, the Bank of England is also involved, which is a major play as well, where they get to test out crypto platforms and crypto projects in terms of tokenization, and then whatever gets green lighted will get green lighted. Great way to do it. And also her mentioning that there's a lower chance of the SEC going around suing if they do this, because before a major launch happens, they can test out their features inside of this digital sandbox. They get a green light, then they can launch. It's no longer they launch, they get sued. It's more like they launch inside of this digital box. It gets green lighted, they launch. No more suings afterwards, which is true, what she said. Gary Gensler can't sue afterwards because they've seen the testing and then they give the green light for mass use, mass adoption, which is amazing news. Honestly, extremely bullish. And with the Bank of England and the FCA being involved, even better. Now, before we go for the next news, let me see what's in the comment section. Then all somehow they connected pretty much here. That's great news. It is definitely JP facts. Now, regarding JP Morgan. JP Morgan warns of a negative initial market reaction to spot Ethereum ETFs. In a very orderly way, JP Morgan's analyst is coming out with some incredibly odd perspectives JP Morgan's analyst is coming out with some, Nicholas, by the way, is coming out with some odd perspectives recently. So JP Morgan warns of a negative initial market reaction to spot Ethereum ETFs. Those expecting spot Ethereum ETFs to see the kind of cash pouring into them the way they did for their Bitcoin counterparts may be disappointed, according to an analyst from JP Morgan. I'll give you my perspective at the end. The initial market reaction to the launch of these spot Ethereum ETFs is likely to be negative, according to Nicholas, JP Morgan analyst, wrote the team analyst led by Nicholas in its 25-page flows and liquidity report issued, of which Ethereum took up less than 1 page. Not keeping up with spot Bitcoin ETFs. Spot Ether ETFs won't see the sort of rush of money spot Bitcoin ETFs did when they launched. Products in the latter category by BlackRock and Fidelity broke records by each acquiring $10 billion in assets under management in a matter of weeks. We believe the demand for spot Ethereum ETFs would be a fraction of that seen for spot Bitcoin. The JP Morgan analyst wrote, listing several reasons why they see spot Ether ETFs not being in the league with those of Bitcoin ETFs. First, the analyst said Bitcoin had a first maneuver advantage and thus scooped up as much for demand for crypto assets in response to spot Ether ETFs. Another reason they cited was that Bitcoin's halving event, which occurred a month ago, acted as an additional demand catalyst for spot Bitcoin ETFs, while Ethereum's proof of stakes consensus mechanism doesn't have a similar event. It should be noted that Bitcoin's next halving won't occur until 2028. On the flip side, since ETFs removed staking from their filings, this makes them less attractive compared to platforms that offer staking yields, the JP Morgan analyst argued. The researchers also see Bitcoin's role as a competing with gold in portfolio allocations, something that Ethereum, positioned as a token for applications, comes up short. Lower liquidity in Ether, the second largest cryptocurrency based on market capitalization, also makes it less desirable to hedge and quant funds they maintain. JP Morgan cites that similar or smaller market cap as a reason they see a modest 1 billion to 3 billion in net flows for the remainder of 2024. They're seeing about 1 to 3 billion coming into essentially the Ethereum ETFs, assuming that they will go live before New Year's Eve 2024. They expect triple those amounts should staking somehow be added to Ethereum ETFs at some point. Again, I'll give you my perspective at the end. For that to happen, however, Congress would have to legislate their Ether as a commodity, the analyst said. Grayscale Ethereum Trust Outlook. For comparison, total assets under management for spot Bitcoin ETFs was $59 billion as of May 30th for spot Bitcoin ETFs. According to the data from the block, the day the spot Bitcoin ETFs began trading in January, Grayscale's Bitcoin trust assets under management was $28.7 billion in Grayscale, and Ethereum's trust asset under management was $11 billion as of Thursday. Like Grayscale's Bitcoin products, its Ether ETF will likely see money flowing out of it once trading begins on spot Ether ETFs. I did say that. I said that, the first issue with the ETFs at the beginning for Bitcoin was the Grayscale situation, which I explained, and we saw that perspective from Nicholas, which was the same person perspective I'm reading from, Nicholas, JP Morgan analyst, and we explained before the ETFs were greenlighted that Grayscale would be a downfall, which it was, and then most recently I said that Grayscale might be the downfall for the Ethereum ETFs as well, because it happened for Bitcoin. There's a possibility of doing the same scenario where they charge high fees and the locks come off and everybody decides to sell, which is what Nicholas is saying right now. We expect around $1 billion to exit the Grayscale Ethereum Trust as a speculative investors who previously bought the ETH in anticipation of it being converted to ETFs are likely to take profits, thus exerting downwards pressure on Ethereum prices soon after the launch of the spot Ethereum ETFs, they wrote. So His perspective, essentially, Nicholas, regarding the Ethereum situation, is Ethereum going to get the the momentum it needs, the same way Bitcoin got the momentum? Yes, obviously Bitcoin has its favorable outtakes of the halving event and so on, which makes it more difficult, reduces and so on. So it's more favorable. Ethereum's likeliness of getting so much amount of inflow coming into it. I mean, it is going to get money flowing into it over time, definitely. But yes, one thing that was very good for Ethereum, which Gary Gensler took off the list, was staking. If Ethereum ETFs came with a staking feature, that would have made investors more greedy, which means they would have came in with much more money coming towards Ethereum ETFs. They would have preferred it more. So with Gary Gensler taking away staking, it doesn't seem much more favorable to them. Bitcoin does seem like a better option for them. But again, saying that, the Ethereum ETFs, in my perspective, are still going to get quite a lot of money coming into them. And I did say that Grayscale might be the downfall of Ethereum ETFs right at the beginning, the same way they did with Bitcoin, where Grayscale locked everybody's Bitcoins in, and then locks came off when the ETF application happened, and they charged 1.5% fee, which is ridiculous when BlackRock is offering 0.25% fee. So they could do the same thing again. Now, here's another thing as well. Is Nicholas, on purpose, making this bogus claims? Essentially, nobody's going to go for Ethereum ETFs, nothing's going to happen, and so on, to keep the manipulation going, to keep the prices down until the doors essentially open for ETF application, for the ETF green lights of Ethereum. Is he trying to do that to keep the prices down, manipulate the market space until the doors get opened? Because it seems like it's going to be a while until the doors get opened, apparently. Yes and no, because institutions have a lot of money. They don't care about. I mean, they were buying $30,000 Bitcoins, $40,000 Bitcoins, $50,000 Bitcoins, $60,000 Bitcoins. They were buying it. The proof is all there. The evidence is all there. You can check out their 13F filings that they sent to the SEC. They were buying it at any price point. So the issue can't be, they're trying to manipulate the price point so they can get cheap Ethereums coming in. But is he trying to manipulate the news? I mean, is he trying to manipulate the Ethereum and the market space and crypto space in general? It seems like it, yes. But is he trying to do it to keep the prices low? No, because they don't care. For a corporation like JP Morgan buying, even if it is, let's say, $10,000 Ethereum somewhere down the road, for them it's like buying a packet of chewing gum when it comes to buying $10,000 per Ethereum. They couldn't care less if Ethereum, when Ethereum gets $10,000. But they couldn't care less. They're buying 30, 40, 50, $60,000 Bitcoins. And again, it's like buying a packet of chewing gum. It's like buying one Red Bull. For a corporation, buying a $50,000 Bitcoin for them is as equivalent to buying one Red Bull. I said this before and I will say it again, and the proof is there, the evidence is there. You can see it at 13F filings and check out their prices, their average prices they were buying into as well. So, and also you can just go to MicroStrategy and see what prices he was buying at. Yeah. I agree with some, and I disagree with other things that he said. It does seem more like a manipulation tactic to mess with the market space. But is it a manipulation tactic to keep the prices down? Possibly not, because they couldn't care less. Now, Franklin Templeton. But yeah, I agree with some, and I disagree with some things he said as well. And I think he has a manipulation tactic going on. Now, an angle. Franklin Templeton is the next news we're going to go through in tonight's live show. Franklin Templeton's Jenny Johnson on Bitcoin ETFs, real-world asset tokenization, and blockchain's potential for TradeFi, traditional finance, for blockchain. This is Franklin Templeton. We're going to go through that as well. But before we go through that, let's go inside the comment section. Hi, Miles. Jim, good to see you. How you doing? Can I get a recap? Yes, Jim, at the end, I'll give a recap because a few other members tuned in a little bit late as well. But at the end, as always, I'll do a recap. You mean Nicholas asked talking through his backside? Let's go, funky brother. If 50,000 by 2030 is what Chillzone is saying, yeah, by 2030, anything's possible. Definitely. He's up to something, that's for sure. Yes, I agree, JP. Nicholas is up to something, definitely. Just need to put my thing on it. Where is he up to something? Is BlackRock's Alex? Good to see you as well. How you doing? Hi, Miles and family. Alex, how you been? Is BlackRock's BTC their biggest monetary asset? Is BlackRock's BTC their biggest? BlackRock ranking in number one in terms of IBIT? Yes, according to recent data. Miles, will the US party that wins the next election have any influence in the contracts already in place with XRP, XLM, XDC worldwide? If they don't, can we say we are all fine to keep reinvesting? Yeah, they have no control. No politician has any sort of controls. I mean, they can throw speed bumps along the way, but that's about it. In terms of actually terminating contracts, no, they have no power. No power whatsoever in terms of stopping contracts and partnerships and so on. They have no power in terms of that. But in terms of throwing speed bumps here and there, yeah, they can do that. So you're perfectly fine. Obviously not financial advice, but perspective. Franklin Templeton. Franklin Templeton, Jenny Johnson on Bitcoin ETFs, real-world tokenization, and blockchain's potential for TradeFi, traditional finance. The president and CEO of the asset management giant said blockchains are transformational tech that can help drive down operational costs during a panel discussion at the conference 2024. Everybody was there by the looks of it, with BlackRock, Fidelity, Bitwise, SEC members, CFTC members, Franklin Templeton, CEO of asset management. Everyone was there. So this is their perspective on the corporate sector and the money coming in. Also very bullish. Franklin Templeton, the $1.6 trillion asset manager based in Silicon Valley, has been at the forefront of traditional finance, heavyweights pushing into the digital asset space, 1.6 trillion. We have looked at blockchain tech and found this is going to be transformational, and we better make sure we understand it, Jenny Johnson, president and CEO of Franklin Templeton, said during the panel discussion at the conference 2024 in Austin. That's why the company is running about 30 validator nodes. Here's something that some of you might want to know regarding this. Franklin Templeton, 1.6 assets under management corporation, is running nodes on. Now, this is some of the nodes they mentioned, some of the crypto projects they mentioned that they are running nodes on. So this is why they said, that's why the company is, this is how much in favor of blockchain they are. So that's why the company is running, Franklin Templeton, 1.6 assets under management, $1 trillion. That's why the company is running about 30 validator nodes on 12 different blockchains. Now, they mentioned some of these blockchains, and the others, they kept quiet about them. The blockchains that Franklin Templeton is running nodes on, and they're running 30 nodes on 12 blockchains. This is how much in favor of cryptocurrencies they are, and real-world assets and tokenizations and everything to do with blockchain. For example, she said they're running nodes on Ethereum, Cardano, Stellar, XLM. And Providence Johnson said on the panel, that's more than what the asset manager website shows. In other words, on their own website, they're not showing that they're running these nodes. And she didn't mention the rest of the nodes. She only mentioned some of them on that panel. The rest, she said, she kept quiet about. And she said, this is not even mentioned on our website. That's more than what the asset manager's website shows, which mentions 6 networks, including the same 4 blockchains, plus Polkadot and Solana as well. And the rest, she kept quiet about. The rest of the blockchains, essentially the rest of the projects that they're involved in, she kept quiet about. There's 12 different blockchains, and she only mentioned 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She only mentioned 5 projects. They're running 12 different on 12 different blockchains. They're running validator nodes on. Franklin Templeton, 1.6 assets under management. They're going to tokenizations. They're going into full blockchain. She mentioned only 5 of the blockchains she's running on. That's not even mentioned. That's not mentioned on their website, Franklin Templeton, but she mentioned it. But they're running 12, but she only mentioned 5 of those blockchains, which was Ethereum, she mentioned, Cardano, Stellar, Solana, and DOT. Real world asset tokenization, so that was some information that nobody knew about. Now, what was said, what's on paper, what's in front of our eyes, could also be swayed on what's behind the scenes. Real world asset tokenizations, a key allure of blockchain technology, she explained, is the efficiency to record and recycle, essentially recall the transactions and its potentials for cost savings. Franklin Templeton today has, this is what she said word for word, Franklin Templeton today has a huge number of people, a couple of hundred, who just recall data between systems. Then we have to recall with our counterparties and another firm, Johnson said. Blockchain offers a single source of truth and a record timing of transactions better than traditional methods, she said. And it could help cut the costs and decrease the administrative workload. We're in a business where we're constantly being pressured to drive down the costs of the delivery of what we do, she added. One example benefiting from blockchain is tokenization, making real-world assets such as funds and bonds available on digital asset rails. Franklin Templeton was a pioneer, she said, launching the first money market fund available on-chain using Stellar Network in 2021, years before the rivals like BlackRock entered the space. Bitcoin ETFs. Franklin Templeton was one of the 11 issuers approved to list spot-based Bitcoin exchange-traded funds in the US in January, and is also among those awaiting for the approval of the launch of the similar vehicle in the second largest cryptocurrency, Ether. Johnson said that many people are attracted to Bitcoin as an asset outside of the banking system that's resistant to government seizure, but ETFs offer a well understood vehicle to get exposure. For me, it's a vehicle of choice, Johnson said. And an ETF is a regulated entity which makes a lot of people more comfortable who wouldn't have transacted essentially in this space otherwise. Also, the next news we're going to be going through on tonight's live show is Franklin Templeton as well. Franklin Templeton's CEO this time around is warning the US that we need to stay in charge. Otherwise, they're going to be moving countries. Not Franklin Templeton, but the innovation is going to go away. But what we just went through regarding what Franklin Templeton said, absolutely major news regarding what Franklin Templeton said, regarding coming out with this information on a panel in front of lots of people. Now, in terms of, and also her mentioning that, this isn't mentioned on our website. This is just information she's just coming out with now. That's not mentioned on their website. She didn't mention the rest of the blockchains involved. Extremely bullish, however you look at it. 30 nodes, 12 blockchains, and she only mentioned 5 of those blockchains on this panel. The rest she kept quiet about. And the blockchains she mentioned was Ethereum, Cardano, Stellar, Solana, and Polkadot. The rest she kept quiet about. Obviously, we can guess which one's the rest. And you can see, again, the adoption rate happening. The world is genuinely shifting into a digital era, where in 2024, we have a panel of Franklin Templeton CEOs, SEC members, CFTC members, BNY members, BNY Mellon members, Fidelity members, BlackRock members, all talking about this, blockchain adventure they're all going forward with. Nodes they're already running. They're already running these systems, by the way. But all of them giving this perspective of how the future is going to be looking like. And also coming out with some information that they're doing behind the scenes. 2024 is all about the world shifting into a digital era. And the adoption rate is definitely on the way. So extremely bullish news. But especially coming out with information that isn't listed anywhere. Now, Franklin Templeton, CEO, warns US risks losing crypto leadership to other nations. Is the next news, but before we go through it, let's go inside the comment section. If you can't get through the last 2 years and you can do another year of speedy bumps, we're all set. What are the notes? She didn't mention. She didn't want to go too much into the details about the notes, but a 1.6 assets under management firm, a $1.6 trillion assets under management firm, is running 30 nodes, validator nodes on 12 blockchains. 1.6 assets under management, $1 trillion. And she came out with this information. BlackRock is probably keeping quiet about their information. Fidelity is also keeping quiet about their information. A lot of these big players do tend to move in the silence. That's how they get ahead of the game. They don't get ahead of the game for coming out with the information. They get ahead of the game for being silent. But she decided to come out with some of the information. Well, thank you to her, because that's extremely bullish. Now, Franklin Templeton, CEO, warns US risk of losing crypto leadership to other nations. Jenny Johnson, the president of CEO, again, of Franklin Templeton, expressed concerns about the US risks losing its leadership position in the crypto space to other nations if it maintains a closed approach to regulations. She went on to say, I do worry that if we're too closed on this, we will cede leadership to other jurisdictions, she said, in the conference presentation at the conference, that event in essentially Austin. Johnson praised the regulatory efforts of countries like Singapore. Singapore is doing amazing things inside the crypto space. Hong Kong also doing amazing things. And the United Arab Emirates is just tax-free. So it's the #1 place for crypto projects, stating that Singapore, Hong Kong, and the UAE probably have been in even Europe to some extent, have led more in all taking different approaches and being very constructive on blockchain regulations. While acknowledging the risks and concerns surrounding crypto, Johnson emphasized the need for the US to be proactive in its regulatory approach. Johnson also highlighted the potential impact of crypto on traditional businesses, stating, I always say to our equity teams, you better pay attention to what's happening in the digital asset space, because they're going to disrupt some of the companies that exist in the equity space. She always says to her team that you better pay attention to what's essentially happening in the digital space. Franklin Templeton is telling their team members to pay attention of what's happening inside digital space. Ethereum and other ETFs. When asked about the prospects of Ethereum ETFs, Johnson refrained from commenting directly due to pending approval process. However, she did discuss Franklin Templeton's efforts in the tokenized money market fund space. We actually have a tokenized money market fund that we took a 2020, and I do want to say that while there is a discussion about the other one in the market, we're by years early, Johnson explained. We worked a lot with the SEC on it. Ours is the accident, one that actually runs on public watching. Johnson highlighted the benefits of running on a public blockchain, such as the ability to allow in-trade yields and peer-to-peer exchanges. The benefits are running on a public watch. We did shadow for the first 6 months, and the SEC got comfortable enough with it that they allowed us to run it on their public blockchain, she said. So it's one of the stellar chains is that it actually can allow in-trade yields. Franklin Templeton is also exploring the creation of tokenized exposures to traditional ETFs that can be held in wallets. This is again what she said. She wanted to say basically, we're looking at being able to create tokenized exposure to ETFs, traditional ETFs, in the market space that you can hold on your wallet. Johnson stated, but because we wanted to do that, we had to build a shareholder record keeping system on chain and on a hot and cold storage wallet. So right now, Franklin Templeton is doing quite a lot of experiments in terms of tokenization prospects, in terms of running validator nodes, and their main focus seems to be on the Stellar chain in terms of tokenizations, which is great news for XLM, amazing news for XLM. But also they're involved by 12 other blockchains as well, and they only mentioned 5 of them. I'm guessing one of them wasn't mentioned because of the case going on, but now we know at least what their focus is as well. Their focus is mostly towards tokenizations, which is big money, humongous money, especially coming from a 1.6 assets under management $1 trillion firm. And again, extremely bullish. What Franklin Templeton has said, extremely bullish, definitely. And honestly, the US will come around because it does seem like it's about to be coming around, especially with this UK initiative they're going forward on digital sandboxes. Now, we have also come to the endings of this live show as well. It's about 1:30 a.m. in London. But we've also come to the endings of this live show as well. And on this live show, we went through quite a lot of perspectives, but we had to because some of the information was just incredible coming out. So regarding what we talked about Franklin Templeton's CEO and their perspectives on tokenization, extremely bullish. Regarding Franklin Templeton's CEO coming out and saying what blockchains, some of the blockchains they're doing these works on, extremely bullish. We can definitely see the adoption rate in terms of the corporations. And then JP Morgan's perspective from Nicholas was a bit, all over the place. But then the SEC commissioner coming out and saying the UK and the US, the Financial Conduct Authority, the SEC, and the Bank of England are going to be working together. Bullish, extremely. Then essentially the James, the ETF analyst from Bloomberg, talking about it as well, regarding how the market moving forward, bullish as well. Then we talked about essentially the implementation of the F21 Act that could possibly be changing along the way by the time it gets essentially into law. Then we talked about Chainlink and Circle's partnership that happened as well, which is quite a big partnership in terms of Chainlink and Circle. That's going to do well moving forward as well. Then we talked about the spot Ethereum ETF issuers essentially being asked to hand in their S1 filings, and that the SEC can waste some time, and they can essentially keep on asking to amend their S1 filings and waste more time on the launch on the ETF application, on the ETF, on the Ether ETFs. Then we talked about Patrick McHenry talking about the Stablecoin Act and that he hopes the fast route will be taken, but he said that they can, go the slow route if they wanted to. Then we talked about Joe Biden apparently in favor of cryptocurrencies now. Then we talked about Conswiss, essentially a $25 million donation that was made to politicians. Then we talked about on tonight's live show regarding Vitalik Buterin donating 30 Ethereum to the Tornado Cash essentially adventure, but also Vitalik Buterin coming out with a new project called Privacy Pools is what Vitalik Buterin is. So the founder or the co-founder of Ethereum right now is working on a new project called Privacy Pools, which is basically similar to Tornado Cash, but under the law, within the law. We also talked about on tonight's live show regarding Donald Trump, which, regarding his guilty situation that's going on right now and how things will play out inside the market space. Why do you think they mentioned those particular 5? I think it's the safe 5 they could have mentioned. The rest of them, one of them probably wasn't mentioned because of the case that's going on. And that's why. Thank you, Miles. No problem, Pierce. Anytime. Good night, CMF. Pierce, good to see you tomorrow as usual, brother. Let's see if his left plays a role in him running and ending up having to pull out of the race. Yes, definitely. Regarding Trump, definitely. Thanks, Miles, for the information. Like always, brother, take care. Let's go. Ray, see you tomorrow, brother, sometimes usual. And again, we have reached the endings of tonight's live show as well. If you enjoyed this live show, drop a follow, drop a like. If you're watching us on YouTube, drop a follow, drop a like. If you're watching us on X, drop a follow, drop a like as well. And if you want, retweet the live show. If you enjoyed this live show watching for the first time, this is called the CMF live show. You can tune into this live show every single night. We talk about what's happening around the world, recent news that's happening around the world, and sometimes you get news on this live show that you don't hear from anywhere else. In terms of cryptocurrency news, CBDC news, partnership news, PDF news, perspective news, regulation news, and politics news, and AI news. And we do Q&As as well, which means you ask the questions, I give you the answers. And if you're wondering who might be answering people's questions, I have a background in business, finance, tech, law, and cybersecurity. Also on a blockchain startup company, and I have quite a lot of range of blockchain people around me in terms of executives on Binance and some other exchanges, and the people that start up the Graph project as well around me as well. Now, if you enjoy this live show, drop a like and tune into it every single night. We have reached the endings of this live show. So, I will be seeing everybody tomorrow. And also we have a Telegram group as well. If you want to join it, amazing place to be. Great people as well from all around the world, different backgrounds, and amazing people to talk to. And they're all inside the comment section as well every single night. Every single one of them, absolutely amazing. Very kind people to talk to as well. And everything I do is completely free of source. I don't charge any money. I believe education should always remain free. So don't worry, when you tune into these live shows, everything is free. Everything I do is completely free anyways. So I will see everybody tomorrow, same timing as usual. Have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world. CMF, I will see you tomorrow, same time as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world. Good night, Miles and CMF. Same. See you tomorrow, same time as usual. Great live, Miles, as usual. Good night, Miles and CMF. Jason, see you tomorrow, but the same time as usual as well. I'll see everybody tomorrow, same time as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world. CMF, see you tomorrow, same time as usual.